Part of the rationale behind striking a trade deal with China was supposed to be evening the playing field in the worldwide commerce between those two countries. But a new report from Harvard Business School is showing some pessimism about the United States' ability to compete globally. Joining us right now with the authors of that report, Professor Michael Porter's here from Harvard Business School. We have not seen Mr. Porter in quite some time, but we're thrilled to see him. And Katherine Gehl is here, former CEO of Gehl Foods. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
You know, this is supposed to be the holidays. It's supposed to be uplifting period of time.
It's a downer report, my goodness. Very downer report.
Why are you so down?
Well, first of all, it's our alumni, thousands of our alumni that filled out the surveys that said.
So this is not your opinion, but it's the opinion of your very smart.
It's a shared opinion that I have. You know, the stock market is up. It's been up for a lot, but actually our economy is fundamentally eroding competitiveness. We are weakening in terms of our ultimate ability to compete. We can't get infrastructure built. We can't fix the healthcare system. Our public education continues to decline. We've been relaxing regulation that would help climate change as part of a policy of this administration. So we have these growing competitive weaknesses, but no progress gets made. We can't pass any legislation. We can't get together. We can't fix immigration, for example. There's another critical area. It's tearing the country apart. So we're not working on the real problems facing our economy, and our alumni are quite concerned that over the coming years, after this nice recovery has happened, we're not going to see sustained progress.
Are you in the same camp? And the reason I ask is this: if you look at the economy today, you would say it's more than a nice recovery. You'd say this is actually the greatest it's been in quite some time. Now, I'm not saying it may be a short-term blip. You may say it's a sugar high. They come up with lots of.
It depends on who. It's really great for some people. Right. It's really not so good for a lot of other people.
And also, as our report points out, we haven't used this period of recovery to invest in the future. So that's why the title is The Recovery Squandered, which is we didn't do the things that previous administrations have done in recoveries prepare for the future. And the reason we don't do that, and this is the core of our report, is because we have structural problems in politics. Washington isn't broken. It's actually designed by and for the benefit of what we call the political industrial complex. And they're doing great, and yet the country is not, as I've said, investing for the future. And that's what we're really looking at now, which is why this report is slightly different than the past, with the focus on the political system.
Go ahead.
So do you see us, when you look at other countries, what are they doing differently? Is it command control elsewhere? What can we do to start this process, just to get things going?
Yeah, so we have two key problems in our political system that drive the incentives, and I'll talk about a major one. We have party primaries. They create, we need a Democratic primary and a Republican primary, and that creates an eye of the needle through which no problem-solving politician can pass. Essentially, when a congressperson has an opportunity to sign bipartisan legislation on any of these biggest issues, the questions they ask are not, is this the right policy? Is this good for the country? They ask one question, and that is, will I make it back through my partisan primary if I vote for this?
So it pushes them too far right or too far left.
Yeah, it pushes them this way, which means they're never going to come together. So until we address that structural problem in the system, none of the drama that we see is going to end up affecting.
The parties seem like they are interested in doing something like that, because it would have to be the parties who say, look, we're killing ourselves by not making ourselves electable to the middle part of the country.
I certainly hope you're right about that. The public wants to do something about it, and we can do that in each state. Every state can change the rules. We can get rid of
One
party
of the things
primaries.
you talk about in the report is something like ranked choice voting, right? As a way to sort of stem the partisanship. I can see how that might work better in a primary, but you're also recommending for a general as well. I'm just curious where some states have already started to adopt it. New York City has it now. This is where you rank 1, 2, and 3 choices, and then whoever ends up with 51% as you redistribute second and third place votes. Is there evidence of that working in terms of stemming partisanship on the?
So here's what's really important. The benefit of ranked choice voting is not necessarily to stem partisanship. It's to allow for new competition. In any business industry, we know that new competition creates incentives for innovation and progress. And so right now, without ranked choice voting, we have what's called a spoiler problem. So you remember when Howard Schultz considered running, and yet the Democrats were upset. They believed he'd spoil the election for the Democrats.
As an independent.
As an independent. As long as we have the spoiler problem, even though 90% of Americans, let's say, are dissatisfied with both parties, we never see any new competition.
Oh, so the idea is...
So we don't want ranked choice voting just because it's more fair, more representative. We want it because it allows for new competition, which forces accountability in the system. So partisan primaries, get rid of those.
Right.
You'll have more results. Get rid of plurality voting and put in ranked choice voting, and you'll have more accountability. Results, accountability.
You might have more parties coming in.
But how do you get a party that's in a position of power to be willing to do this?
We're probably going to have to go directly to the voters in the various states, and that's starting to happen. We have a ranked choice voting referendum on our ballot in Massachusetts. This is spreading now across the country. We're finally figuring out that actually the biggest problem we have a great country, we have great citizens, we have a lot of opportunity. We can't get anything done. Everything's gridlocked. We don't solve anything. We can't fix the things we know we have to fix. We know how to fix them. We just can't do it. We've had 4 bipartisan immigration bills.
How much would it cost in terms of political campaigns to get ranked choice voting in all 50 states?
Okay, super interesting. So, first of all, we have 50 states. You change these rules individually because the Constitution delegates those rules to the states. Any state could pass legislation. So there are governors and legislatures in the country who could do this in their next legislative session.
Who have been elected
and that would
through their
cost
party apparatus.
Nothing. What
Who have been elected through their party apparatus.
That is totally
true. That's what I'm saying. If you're in power, the rational choice is not to do this.
That's true, which is also why we look to the 26 states that have a form of citizens' referendums. So you put it on the ballot, and then the citizens vote for that and bypass the elected officials.
Right.
Having said that, I actually believe we will see legislative movement because there is widespread agreement across Republicans and Democrats and independents, certainly, that Washington is broken. So the state legislators and governors may want to take action on the congressional elections. And that is the key. And here's the other thing. You asked about cost. We don't need to have this in all 50 states to begin to make a difference in the result.
You just need enough to kind of get
a fulcrum in a sense. So get
the reason I ask is I'm against big money in politics. However, I think I may be for big money in trying to support efforts like this.
Issues.
Yeah, political philanthropy.
If some people, well, I'm sure there's another side to this, and people will say this is a bad idea, right? I mean, let's be honest. There are people who are going to think that this is not.
Probably only in the parties who like the current system. The parties now are designed to serve their partisans, the left partisans and the right partisans. That's who they deliver value for. That's what legislation they want to pass. They won't compromise. It's better to do nothing than to compromise and have a bipartisan bill. We don't have those anymore. The history of this country was we worked together. We solved problems. People in Washington were friendly to each other. They talked about what's the best solution to this complicated issue. It's never the right and the left. Those are never the right answer. And we've lost our ability to play that game anymore.
Andrew, can I answer that question about cost?
Yes.
This is fascinating. So if we had 10 states and we ran ballot initiatives in half and legislative in the other, let's say it could cost $10 million per state.
Okay.
So now that amount is a fraction of the billions spent in elections.
$10 million a state is the cost. Okay.
Well, approximately.
$100 million to get 10 million.
Where can viewers read the report?
This report's available through Harvard Business School and through our website, and we'd be happy to share it with everybody.
Excellent. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.